Hello, and welcome to a short review of my two German locomotives. As requested, release the Class 86 was requested by Narrow Gauge Nerd. So here's the Pico Class 86. And first off, I just want to say the reason I've lumped the two locomotives in together is just because I don't know enough about them. So, I believe she's probably from somewhere between 1965 and 1995. I don't know. It's definitely not a new locomotive. It's pretty old. So, I'll get into where it came from a bit later, but I'll run you through it and just show you what she's like. I love the smokebox door on this thing. I mean, look at it. Look how industrial that looks. These were freight engines in real life. And you can see it's just, it shows. You can see it's not, some would say it's not the prettiest thing. I like industrial looking things, so that's fine for me, but I love all the moulded detail. I'm sure there's probably a super detail, high-end version where that's all separately fitted, but it gets the job done, and it's pretty nice. Something I think that's a bit weird on this locomotive is it's the buffers. Just, they're rubber. I mean, you can kind of see, it flexes. Yeah, it's rubber. I've never seen that before. I'm guessing, that other Pico locomotives are like that, but I don't have any more Pico locomotives. So at the back, you can see it's got these ladders that are moulded on, and more lanterns, and a very peculiar shaped coal bunker. I think I've seen a lot of German locomotives, and I think a lot of them are like this. But if somebody's into British stuff, I'm sure some of the J50 locomotives had coal bunkers like that. I'm fairly sure they did. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. It's a 282 tank engine. That's a Mikado, I believe 282s are called. And something I hate on this loco is it's got plastic valve gear and side rods, and that caused problems, as I'll show you on the other side. It broke. So what happened is, I think the crank pin or something jammed, and the valve gear just came right off. And I can't reattach it. It's still sitting it's not even in the junk box anymore. I think it's part of my little wagon full of scrap. But yeah, and I can't reattach it because the crank pin actually broke. So I might have to eventually find a donor model or something to get those parts from. Now on to the Fleischmann Class 53, which is definitely my favourite out of the two models. The Fleischmann locomotives have a very unique little coupling. I rather like it, but I literally only have two wagons with this coupling, so, that's basically all you're going to see with it. The detailing is quite basic. It's all just moulded on, but it gets the job done, and it looks acceptable. Again, I'm not sure of this one's age. Probably around the mid-80s, I think. The back of the tender is really nicely detailed. It's got these lovely lamps. It's got what I believe to be maybe a toolbox of sorts, and some sort of steps. Another little detail I love is all the sort of coal that's overflowed and piled up on the tender water tanks, I believe those are. Just adds a bit more life to the model, and I really like that. This model is also missing its valve gear, but this is on both sides, and I didn't break it this time, and I also don't really mind. It looks fine without it. These locomotives were given to me by my grandfather, who was given them by one of his friends. He traded them for something and eventually just gave them to me. So, free is always a good price. But yeah, so I've looked into their prices and stuff. The Class 53, I think, is usually about 70 quid on eBay, and the Class 86, I think I've seen a couple going for about £55. Now time for some running.